So in the last video, we were looking at how to work out 10% of any value. And we figured out that all we needed to do was divide that value by 10. And the same if the percentage was any multiple of 10, you would just divide by 10 and then times it by that multiple. But it's slightly different if we are looking for a percentage that isn't a multiple of 10. So let's say that we've got, we want to work out what 15% of 220. Now, you can do this in two ways. The first way of doing it is more complex and you can make more mistakes. But I'm going to show you this way and I'll show you both ways, and whichever way you feel more comfortable with is the way to go with. So the first way of doing it is to break up that percentage. So we're going to work out what 10% is, what 5% is, and then add it together. So let's go and do that. Let's first of all work out what 10% of 220 is, and to do that we're going to do 220 divided by 10, which will give us our 22. Now we need to know, we know what 10% is, we know 10% is 22. We need to know what 5% is. Now if we know what 10% is, we know that it's 22. Working out 5% is just halving our answer. So we're going to do 22 divided by 2 to give us our, not 10, 11. And that will give us our answer, that's 5%. So here we've got 10% is 22, 5% is 11. So to work out 15%, all we do is add those together. So 22 add 11 would be 33. So our answer to 15% of 22 would be 33. Now the other way of doing this, 15% of 220, is you should make less mistakes because there's less mistakes to make, you're doing less calculations. So the way you would do this is start by dividing 220 by 100. Now when you're dividing by 100, what you're actually doing is working out what 1% is. Okay, so when we divided by 10, we were working out what 10% is. When we divide by 100, we're working out what 1% is. So we're going to do 220 divide by 100, which will give us 2.2. Now we know what 1% is, 2.2, but we don't want to know what 1% is. We want to know what 15% is. So all we need to do now is 2.2 times by 15, our percentage. So we're going to go through this together. So we've got 2 times 5, which is 10. 2 times 5, which is 10, but plus the 1 is 11. Now we're going to put our placeholder because we're timesing the tens number. 2 ones are 2. 2 ones are 2. Add that together. Oh. 330. However, in our original question, we've got one number after the decimal point. So we need to make sure that in our answer, we've got one number after the decimal point. So we pop our decimal point in there, and that will give us our answer of 33.